just if you're interested in recordings, just remind me. It's recording now, and I have all recordings of all the lectures on YouTube, so I can always point you there. It's probably easier because the way that the Zoom works, you can tell it to record, then you gotta share the recording. It's crazy. So how is everybody doing tonight?
All right.
Fine.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Good.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you.
Good.
All right.
Good, thank you.
All right, so this is Math 120, and this is what we call the virtual section. It's V82, as you can see right there. V stands for virtual. So this class, it meets like a regular class, and we go over material, and then a virtual setting. So we're not having to travel to be in the classroom. But other than that, it works exactly the same way as a face-to-face would work. I have two other face-to-face sections of Math 120, one in the morning at 11 o'clock on the West Bank and one at 5:30 on Monday and Wednesday at City Park. And same material. You don't get cheated out of anything other than you're not able to reach out and touch somebody. You can do it virtually. All right. So when you come into to your Canvas, as I said, is you should be able to select on and choose the class. I believe it works pretty much the same way as mine. Mine, of course, I got 5 math classes. You should just have 2. You should have the V82. Well, I'm sorry, not everybody in this class will have the V8, the support class, but that's the one we had at 5:30, and then the one we're having right now is this one, Math 120 V82. And so if I click on that, then we're ready to go. Okay. So now, the first thing you see are the announcements. This is the announcement that I sent out last night when I published the course. It just gives you some basics about how to get started. This right here, you can click, and that gives you open my addendum, my lifeline to the course. In other words, this is the contract for the course. You could say, tells you what to expect, the grade breakdown and my policies. And it also has a calendar on it. So notice that it says it's the V82. We have the class via Zoom, 7, 8, 15, Tuesday and Thursday. Spring 24. This is my contact information, the email, and then you can text me through that and we can talk if need be. You can see my schedule there if you want to find me in person or know when that I'm available to meet up. It's also other places, but this is my little way of doing it. So we are right here today, the second purple one. And I like to have some humor mixed in. This is just an old teacher joke because everything is in here, but don't ever feel bad about asking because I know everybody is pretty much just like me in that I'll get something from my boss or I get a bunch of things and then I'll have to go ask her something and she'll say, oh, it's right here. And so there's nothing wrong with that. She never make you feel bad for asking questions. So that's the point of having a teacher. I can guide you along, but all the important information is in here. Anything that's not, will ask you. I mean, I'll let you know about it during class. Now, this is the pacing guide, and for this class, this is very important because this is the credit bearing class, meaning that this is the class that will give you the credit that you need for your degree program. So this is the one your main focus is on, even if you're taking the sport class. This is the important class. And what we have here is called the pacing guide. And it'll show you that on any given day, what we will be looking at so that you can see what the pace is. So for example, before the end of this month, which is about 2 weeks away, we will have covered the 4 sections of the first chapter, which is labeled as chapter 2. The reason why that is because we use a bigger textbook that has a chapter 1, but we don't use that. We start with the chapter 2. And so we'll cover material. There'll be one day where it's a kind of a work day. I want to give you an assignment in class to work on to help you prepare for the test. And then you'll see, like on 1/30, which is about 2 weeks away, we have our first test, and that's also the census day. The census day is the last day to drop without it showing up on your transcript. And you want to make sure you get in to Alex and get signed up, because if you're not ready by that day, I'll show you down here, I will drop you for the class because they ask us to do that. If a student hasn't gotten in and done what's called the census assignment, and for the census assignment, it's to be in Alex and be working, and you have to have done that in order to complete any assignments in Alex. I'll show you in a minute how that works. So just to kind of be belate the calendar here, you can see at any time. So after we get done with the chapter 2, we'll get into chapter 3, and then about 2 or 3 weeks into into February, we test on chapter 3. Then before midterm, we'll have a couple of more little sections, mini sections, and then we'll have a midterm review, an assignment for you to do to get prepared for that midterm exam. And that midterm exam is on everything that's covered so far. That's the halfway point, the beginning of February. Beginning of March, actually, end of February. That's our halfway. Then we'll look at the rest of chapter 10. And then we'll have a little spring break around Easter. Oh, and I should have mentioned up here, I guess I don't have it in here, but right in here somewhere. Oops, it's going to let me do it. This is Mardi Gras. So we have no class on Mardi Gras, which is 2/13/14, I believe. Let me double check that. I got it on the thing. I'll show you in a second. I just notice I don't have it on here. Yeah, Mardi Gras is the 13th. 13th. All right, so this right here, then we have the spring break on the other side, which is just a Thursday off for us. And no class on that day either. We have a test on chapter 3 around the beginning of, test 3 on the rest of chapter 10 at the beginning of April. And then last material is chapter 11. And we test for that on April 23rd. The last regular day of class is the 25th. And then the exam is on May 1st. Now, I just noticed something too. This class is an evening class. So they go 6 to 8 p.m. There we go. So that's technically the time that we take the exam. It's because it's an evening class, 6 to 8 p.m. The daytime classes test in the morning at 10:30, but we're 6 to 8 p.m. And notice that that is on a Wednesday because after the last day of classes, there are no more regular classes so that we go into an exam schedule and that's our assigned day. So just make a note of that, that it's on a different day. So there's the days that I mentioned about the days off. Unless something happens, where the school closes down, which I doubt because we're a virtual class, then we have class on those days. And as I said, you can tell at any time what we will cover. The textbook is going to be automatically taken care of when we do the Alex sign up, and I'll show you in a minute about that. This is the calculator that you can use. So when you take those all important tests, you can only use this calculator. This is it here. Picture of it. So make sure you get a hold of this because that is the only calculator that's allowed on the midterm and final exam. There's also, as we'll see, there's a little calculator in Alex, and I would recommend using that one if you want to. This one does a couple of things more that the Alex calculator does not do. I think mainly with fractions. So this one will simplify fractions for you, as I remember. But that's the official calculator. All right. So this is the breakdown. 65% of the material of the grade in this class comes from 10% learning path. That's what you would call the homework in quotations. It's the learning path, but that's what most people would be thinking of it as. It's what you're doing on a regular basis, daily basis, in order to learn the material. And for most people, that's the best way to go is to go with this calendar and keep up. And as I put up here, within 2 days of covering something on this, it's really, in order to keep up with this schedule, you're going to need to get to it and be working on it. That doesn't mean you can complete it, because if you've got questions, you can bring those back to me and then we can talk about them here in class, and then you can go back and finish up. But if you get much past these dates, it's going to be hard to keep up. And so what you'll just do is just get in your path and keep working as best as you can. And the main thing, as you can see down here, is because tests and the midterm make out 50% of the grade. Those are tests. Okay.
Excuse me. On on that where it's trying to see where you at. You don't get to record grade, but you don't get to do that over to try. Like you don't get let's say if you missed it and you don't try to work that problem again, but it's still, you don't get a chance to do it over.
You're talking about in the homework?
Alex, yes.
Yeah, you can. Now, you don't get to do that with tests and exams, but yeah, for example, on this, you can do that until you are tired of it. And it happens a lot because if you do it enough times, you're going to get frustrated and they're going to pump, and they can tell them, they'll say, well, now go on to something else. You can come back to this later. But that right there, yeah, you can just do it until you get it. But you got to realize that on tests and midterm, it's a one pass thing. Okay. And that's what the majority of the grade is based upon.
So I'm looking here at chapter 2:1. Like I started and the computer went down and I finished some of the margins and I haven't. And so it had already graded. And I'm trying to see how can I go back over it and do it to bring that up. But
But
it's
you're gonna
like,
have to show me exactly what you're working on. Have you already
It,
signed for Alex?
it
yeah,
it already graded it because you didn't finish it, but I did the same thing. You can go back to where you started off and finish it, and then it's gonna regrade you. It just grades you because you didn't finish it, like you was actually kicked out and signed out. So if you go back in there, you can redo it, and you're gonna be graded again.
okay.
So if you take when you take the knowledge check at the beginning, that'll
Mhm.
give you grades as well, because it'll give you credit. And so that way, when you start your path, you won't have as much to do. But the grade is very complicated in that learning path. Okay, it's made up of several components. It's made up of the knowledge check. It's made up of you doing those assignments on time, the modules on time. And then you have to continue. It's called mastery. You have to continue to master them because they'll give you little knowledge checks along the way to see if you still understand them. So that's how those grades are calculated. But remember, that's only this 10%, what you're talking about. These are the things. This what I have coded as quizzes is like practice tests.
Mhm.
That's separate from the learning path. It's an assignment, and you can take it in order to prepare you to take it with associated test.
Gotcha.
And then when we get up to midterm, there's a midterm exam, 25%. And then all of that together, that's 65%. And then the final exam is 35% of the grade. Okay. Now I know that that's a lot based upon exam, and I'm not really a big fan of it because I think that that's too much. I would make it 25%, and I really would maybe bring the midterm down to 10%, but that's what the department has decreed, so we got to follow it. So just keep in mind, the midterm and the final are crucial to passing the course. Okay? Those are the key things. You could mess up on the midterm and then make it up on the final, but once you can't dump both of them. In other words, you got to pass both. You got to have a passing average on the midterm and the final because that's 60% of the grade.
Do you know how many questions on the midterm and the final?
Yeah, and I know they'll tell us when we get there.
Mhm.
You're wrong for that.
Why are you worried about that now? You don't want to be digging up too much trouble. But the
I'd
midterm is
rather
just
be
a
safe.
thorough
I'd
test.
rather be safe than sorry. That's all.
Well, the midterm is just a regular old test, but it counts for 25%. And as I said is, so listen to this. I give you a practice, so you'll have an idea of what's on it. And when you look at that practice, you go over it and do it and do it and do it until you are ready. And then when exam day comes, then hopefully you are ready by using that midterm review. Same thing's going to
Okay.
happen with the final exam. Nothing's going to be completely blind. You're going to know of it beforehand because you're going to have little items to help you like a stepping stone to get to the end.
Gotcha.
So there's your things, and then pay attention to this about dates and such because I invariably every time I'll give a test, I probably have 200 students. About 10% of them, or 20, 25 of them, will say, "Oh, I missed this." Well, what do I do? Well, here's what you do. Okay, you keep on going, and then I don't let people take a 0 as long as they are able to keep up and stay back current with the course. Any kind of missed tests get made up towards the end. Okay,
Thank you.
so make sure you see these things here. That's my peculiarities and policies for the course in regard to testing. So if you kind of need any help when it comes to the respondents browser, there's a little thing you can click on there. And the final grades are going to be in Canvas, the grade book, and they use the 10-point grading scale there. So once everything is all done, you'll be able to look at it after final exam and see what your grade is there. And this is just what I was telling you. So the 14th day will be 2 weeks from now. You need to be in that Alex working, because that's what they call the census assignment for this class. Make sure you're in there working, because if you're not, okay, because they
Hey,
push.
question.
What's that?
I have a question. Do we need to be doing Alex in both of them, like for the censor day?
Well, they are 2 classes, so you got to realize that other class does have a grade associated with it. But if you don't have enough time to keep up with both of them, then this is the one that you need to be working on. This is the one that gets you the credit. But yeah, that is a class. But I just know from experience that you don't have to do everything over there like you have to do here, because this is the one that's the credit class. But if you're in that 020, then yeah, you're going to have assignments, because it is going to have a grade associated with it. I'm going to give you stuff to do and work on. So, but everything that I'm going to give you in there is going to help you with this class. All right, anything else? I mean, that's pretty much it for this. This is the Lifeline.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
Is that other class kind of like, I don't know, like Pearson? I don't know if you've ever heard of, I don't know if you remember Pearson.
Yeah, this isn't Pearson. This is McGraw-Hill.
Okay. Okay, so the other class would consider, like you said, it doesn't count, but you're still gonna be putting stuff kind of like to help us for this class.
Well,
So
yeah.
do-
Now, when I say it doesn't count, is don't take it to where it means that you're going to have a grade associated with it.
Okay.
But this is the one. But you could have an A in the 020, but it doesn't count in your GPA, I don't think. And it doesn't get you to the next math. This one gets you to the next math. This one gets you the credit.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mhm. All right, so let's go over here and let's I'm going to go in as a student and show you. We go in as a student. So what you want to do is click on the Alex right there. If you click on that, and if you got your that open, then you can go ahead and do it now and follow along. But watch what happens. The first time you use it, you'll see this little pie thing comes up here. That's the Alex pie. And I think most people, if you've never used this before, just keep it like it is. If you've had 120 before, if you're repeating the class, I would suggest doing this and logging in with your old account, because at the very least, you're gonna miss a huge number of pop-ups, because the first time you use it, as you're gonna see, they load you down. And I showed people that in the earlier class. So do this. If you've never used it before, you fill in your information. Just want your name and your email address. Say I agree. And then when you continue, it will put you into the right of class. There's nothing in, for you to go out and have to purchase or because this takes care of everything. This pairs you up from Delgado to the McGraw-Hill Alex. And this is what I said is, once you get in as a first timer, look at all these crazy pop-ups. Pop up for everything. So here's a class. So in your Alex, you probably have another one here, the one for the O2O as well. But click on this one. And I'll just show you how to get started. Like I said, is they take you through all this. Show the product, and they got a bunch of pop-ups here. Main menu. That's where you can find everything if you can't, if it doesn't put you where you want to be. Notifications. I don't know exactly what notifications we get. And then this tells you what you should be working on next. But sometimes it may not give you what you want to be working on. So that's why you got this here. And now, until we finish the tutorial and this tools tutorial again, if you were
Wait, excuse me. Could you go back just that 1 second if it doesn't tell you what you're working on?
yeah, right here. See the first thing?
Oh, it says get started on mine. Yes.
Yeah, is the tools tutorial, which most people probably already knew about that if you've used any kind of these systems before. So they're just want to make sure that you understand what to do. So here they say, well, type in a 14. So use your keyboard, put in a 14. Now, if you want to correct, in other words, we put it in wrong, let's say we put in 13. See, then we can do this to undo it and put in a 4. Or if you want to go back all the way, you hit the X. So that's what those two things are for. You'll see those as you traverse the system. Fraction thing, they want us to put in a fraction. So if you click that, it makes that into a fraction, and then you can follow the directions to put in a 2 and then a 3, and there's a fraction. Now this next one is an algebra thing. You may see a few little algebraic things in the path, but there's no algebra in this class, but still they put some in the tutorial here. And this allows us to type things in. And then this is going to allow us to make a bigger fraction. So they're just showing you how to use that, different things you can do. And you can always come back to this. I'll show you in a minute how, when we get up to the knowledge check. So this is how it handles graphs, nice graphing tool. We don't do this kind of graphing, but you'll see later in the course towards the in April, there are some graphical tools, not this kind of graphing, but it'll be like bar charts and stuff. So I think that's all the tutorial for this. Oh, and the calculator. And as I said, this little calculator is going to be available in Alex. what they say, click in the blue box and then type in 31 plus 9, hit equal. So you see, this is a nice little calculator. The only thing that Texas Instrument calculator has that this Alex calculator doesn't have is this one converts decimals to fractions, I believe, which a lot of people like. This one that doesn't have that. So that's the tools tutorial. So that's done. Now here's the knowledge check. For this class, I would highly recommend doing this because what this can do is give you credit for things you may already understand. Specifically, if you've taken the course before and you picked up some of this knowledge, it'll give you credit for it in your path. So then when you come to that section, you won't have as much to do. So here it's really very important because it, like it says, it's like if you go in for a custom fit clothes, they measure you and find out what you need, make it fit you. That's what this is doing. So when you go through this, again, you're going to get a bunch of pop-ups. Just treat it like a test. Like I said, this grade is not going to be a grade that's going to show up in the grade book. It's going to determine what material that you understand and what it needs to present to you. So just treat it like a test. So don't do it until you can do it without getting distracted. And this is just showing you're going to have the calculator. You can go and get that tools tutorial if you want again. And if you don't understand something truly, you can say, I don't know. So I'll just kind of go through a couple of problems on here. See, they'll go back, let you go back to the tools tutorial if you want. All right, so let's just kind of look at this. We're not going to go through many of these questions. I just wanted to kind of talk about percents and stuff because that is one thing we'll be using a little bit in the next couple of weeks. How can we answer this question? Because what it asks is, suppose that an individual has a body fat percentage of 13.8% and they weigh 127 pounds. How can we find out how much fat they've got on their body in pounds?
Change the percentage to a decimal.
Yeah, we're going to take 127 and we're going to multiply it times the decimal equivalent of 13.8. If you multiply it by 13.8, you're going to get more. You got 1,752 pounds. You should be able to judge and say, well, that's not right. How can I have more fat than I weigh? So what we need to do is we need to, let's see here. There's our decimal right there. So we're going to go 1, 2. And so let me kind of show you another way to do it. So that would be, and I'll show you another way in a minute. Let's put that point 138 in here. So then 17.5 pounds right about is how much fat in your body in that scenario. But let me show you another way if you don't like this back and forth thing. So 13.8%, if we take that and divide it by 100, see, then that gives us what we just multiplied by times 127. See, that's the 17.5 and some odd pounds. Now, if we've got the decimal and we want to go back to a percent, well, the decimal goes back to the right, or you can just multiply by 100. Does the same thing. So that's how you deal with percent. So I wanted to kind of jog your memory because you may have a couple of those little percent things in here.
It went fast.
What's up?
Do that over 100 again?
What's that?
What that decimal? When you did it over 100, you just dropped the decimal and there's
That's
138 divided 100
100.
into it?
Moving 2 decimal places
You
to the
breaking-
left. So when you divide the percent by 100, that does the same thing as going 2 to the left. If you've got a decimal and you multiply by 100, that's the same thing as going 2 decimal places to the right.
Got you. Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. So anyway, what did we say? 17 pound, 0.526 pounds, I think. Anyway, so you can submit. Oh, and it said round to the 10th. So, ooh, they were giving me a warning. So, what do we need to do to fix that if it's not rounded to the tenths? How would we round this to the tenths? Well,
We look to the number to your right from the decimal.
okay, let me just kind of, this is tens. This is ones. After the decimal, you got tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then it keeps on going. So to round to the nearest tenth, we're going to look at that right there, that 5. That's the tenths place we're going to round to. Now, we look immediately to the right. If it's below 5, then we lop all this off. So now that's rounded to the 10th. If, let's say it was a 5 here, then when we look at that 5, well, let's make it a 6 just to make it a little bit more interesting. So if we want to round to tenths, then this is going to cause that to bump up to 6. But they asked, it was 5.26, so we're going to 17.5. So just remember about rounding. The 5 is where we draw the line at. We pick the place we want to round to, go to the right. If it's 5 or above, we bump up. If it's below 5, we lop everything off that's over there. And just keep it as it is. So we'll talk about proportions later. Let's just say what happens if we die don't know. They're going to warn us and say they're going to encourage you to try it. But if you don't, like I said, that means then you may have some proportions in your path and they will help you figure out how to do them, but they're going to stay in there until you're convinced, until you master it. This right here is material from later on in the course. You wouldn't be expected to know this, but if you took the course before, you might remember this. Okay. Neat thing, and I'll just show you with the send to the calculator. We're not going to really pay attention to the calculations, but this right here is neat. If it says send to the calculator, then see what it does. It puts everything over there and it does it for you. So you don't have to worry about mistyping things in. This is why I like this calculator. It puts everything over there. And then you can add these up or do whatever you want to with them, you know. But sometimes copying things creates issues. But if this puts it in there for you, that's half the battle. So, see, and it adds them up. But anyway, so by all means, please make sure that you handle doing the knowledge check. I was going to show you too. Now, I thought there was a way to skip through it, but I can't. I was, because it makes you complete it until you, it won't let you get by without doing it. I think there might be a way to get through all of them. But like I said, is I would highly recommend do it because the worst it's going to do is take some of your work out of your path. But anyway, I wanted to show you a couple more things. But let me show you something. I'm going to go into my Alex and then I'll show you this. You know what? They're going to make me do that knowledge check, I'm pretty sure. But I'll show you in my Alex a little bit more what it looks like. Because once you finish that knowledge check, then it'll tell you what the next thing is to do. I wonder if, like I said, I thought there was a way for me to get, maybe it's over here. I can do it. Try one more thing. This is going to make me have to go through it again, I think, but if not, I'll go back to my view. Because yours looks different than mine, and I got, you know, all the administrative things that, see, it's going to make me go through that whole thing. Let's see if I can skip through some of it. Because I just wanted to show you. If not, I'll show you. Good Spanish, I guess, huh? But anyway, once you finish the knowledge check, then up here you'll have at the top the one that says learn. You'll have that. You'll have another one that says assignments. That's where your tests and quizzes and that type of thing will be. So those are the two main things that you have. You can also get to the textbook here because you got an e-textbook. So you can see the text. And you can use this to go wherever you want in the textbook. Like if we want to go to chapter 2, where we're at, then you can go there. And this is the material in chapter 2. So I'll just give you a quick little visitor.
Again,
What's that?
how did you go there again? Get to the textbook.
Yeah, this is the textbook. How do you get to it?
Yeah.
Once you finish the knowledge check,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be up here.
Gotcha.
You'll also have one that says learn, and you'll have one that says assignments. See, mine's a little bit different, so I can't quite show you with mine. And but that's where yours will look more like this. You have one that says assignments, and then you'll have one that says learn. But once you got to finish the knowledge check to open all that up.
Okay.
Because yours doesn't look like this. It looks a little bit different. Let's see if I can get through. Just skip real quick. I was going to show you. I think on this view, it lets me skip stuff. Whereas on the one, so. Let's see if it lets me get through it. And skip it. See, I can skip it just on me. You may be able to do this, but like I said, just realize if you skip it, then you kind of maybe making more work for yourself. Because if you got credit, so we see what the goal is to fill out the pie. I told them I knew more than how much I knew, and it filled in things. But now, once you finish that knowledge check, it's going to give me credit for stuff. So now you can start your path. See that? That's your goal. That's what is going to be, you see, and your date that you want to get this done by is on the 23rd. Because after that, you'll still be able to work on it. They don't let you get by without doing something. It's just you won't get full credit for it. So you can also come up here, and as I said, is the learn will take you back to that path. Review is just so if you want to come back after we've getting ready for test, you can use the review. The assignments is where you will have quizzes and tests. They will show up here. Okay, they won't show up here until a certain period of time. You should try this Respondus here because we're going to be taking tests with Respondus. So this is just a little test, and you'll have to make sure you've got the plugin. See what it says here, like download launch. You got to install that. I think if you have Respondus installed for Canvas, you won't have to do that, but you cannot do it without this. As a matter of fact, if I try to do it, it's probably not going to let me. Well, no, I think I already got it installed, but you won't be able to see it if I do it because then I can't cast. But that's what you got to do. Make sure you do that as soon as you can, because I would you don't want to wait until the test is due and then find out you can't get in, because you got to be going through Respondus for tests. And as I said, is everything is here. Once you get past that knowledge check, learn and assignments are the main things you want to look at. Learn is for the path, the regular homework, and then assignments is where quizzes and tests will be at. And they will show up there a few days before they come due. And see too, it's telling me that this thing is not installed. So that's why you got to download this and then go through the procedure of setting that up. Depending on whether you got Windows or Mac, Chromebook, iPad is different, I guess. And then once you get that done, you install it, then you can check it here. All right, so I was going to go over a little bit of material. We just hit that run in on Thursday, I guess, because I think I can go over both of them on Thursday. But I'll just show you two. Oh, I know what I show you. Okay, so back over here, underneath modules, this is what I use to present the material in class. I'll move this up. But actually, it's right here. Let me move it up. So it'd be at the second from the top. See, it says teacher's notes. If you open that up, I'll just kind of take a few minutes here and just kind of give you the basics. But this is what I follow for presenting my material. I guess I got too many things to open. but I'll just kind of give you a little orientation of things. I don't know why it's taking so long for that to open, but we'll just wait. So anybody got any questions? There we go. So the first thing for chapter 2, it's called set theory is the name of the chapter. And 2.1 is basically just concepts. So what is a set? A set is a collection of objects that is taken from some fixed universe, and that is called U. That stands for universe, universal set. And the universal set can change depending on what we're talking about. If we're just talking about what's called natural numbers, the counting numbers, then we can say the universe is as such, meaning that in that universe you have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and the dot, dot, dot means that it keeps repeating. And since there's nothing over here on the end, that means it keeps on going forever. So in this case, the universal set would be an infinite set.
You
of-
want some pancakes? No, you didn't eat the other pancake, huh? You
What's
just want
up?
some milk.
Oh,
Say that again.
to mute when you're talking to somebody else because it
Sorry, that was me. I'm sorry.
because if I'm think you got a question if I hear people talking. So try to mute when you're talking outside to somebody else. You can also just mute it permanently, but there's no reason to do that unless you're going to have people around you. So a set can be either finite or infinite. A finite set means that it's got some countable items in it. So this set A, it's got the natural numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 in it. This one is infinite because it's got the dot, 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 just like this one did, meaning it just keeps on going on and on and on and on and on. You can have both kinds of sets. Mainly we will work with finite sets, but it is possible to have a universal set, and we just say all natural numbers. This little symbol here that looks like a pitchfork right here, that just means that is an element. So the way we would read this is X is an element of a set A. And then if it's got the line through it, that means it's not an element. So if we got this set B here, we're looking at that, and we say 5 is an element of B, then that's a true statement because there's a 5 right there. We can also say 9 is not an element of A because A does not have a 9 in it.
Mhm.
Means that we list them. You also got this thing called set builder notation. I'll explain a little bit more about that later, but it's just a way to be accurate, especially when you're dealing with numbers, rather than having to write all these numbers out. You can use an inequality there and just realize that when you're dealing with inequalities, remember, you can have an equal or you can have a not equal. Two sets are equal if they have the exact same elements in them. So that's what we mean by equality of sets. The order can be different, but if they have the exact same elements, they're called equal. Two sets are equivalent if they have the same number of elements. And this is what this means right here. It's technically called the cardinal number, but it's just a fancy way for saying the number of elements in there. And so this one has 4 elements. This one has 4 elements. Those are not equal, but since they both have 4 elements, they are equivalent, but not equal. And if a set is empty, we denote it as just open and close our brackets with nothing in it, or we use that symbol there. So that's enough for today.
No, yes.
So if you got questions, stick around.
Professor Cruz, I have a question. Where did you found that? Where is that located? Because when you were going
Right.
through that, that's
See
a
that?
teacher. Yes.
Notes.
Okay.
The book is prettier. Eventually, at some point, I was trying to turn mine into a book, but and it'll get better at some point. Of it's got more stuff in it, but it's not as pretty because I don't have a lot of images in there yet, pictures and such. So if you don't have any questions, I'll see you on Thursday. But stick around. We got a
I
few
do
more
have
things
a
here.
question. Professor Cruz, so they mentioned that when I was saying what kind of books do I need for the semester, they mentioned that I needed a book for your class.
Yeah, that's what I just showed you right there. You go
Oh,
into Alex, it takes care of it. You don't need
So-
to go and get anything. You just
so
go through
the Alex is the book?
Alex is the book. It's the book and where you do your all your work at.
Okay, so if I get the book, they're gonna charge me for it, or if I don't get
Yeah,
it,
they
they
don't
won't
have to charge you for it.
Huh?
If you go to the library, I mean to the bookstore, you can buy a physical book, but they're going to charge you more for it. And you still got to have this access here. So if you do the access here by just going through there and signing up, you got everything you need.
Am I able to like print the papers out?
I don't know. You can try if you got a printer, but I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll let you because you may have to go and buy it if you want actual something to print out and write on. But you
So
can
what
get
I'm
in
saying
there
is the book
and annotate, write and do everything just like you would a normal book because it's got tools to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you go by the bookstore, you might even be able to actually order a book on here, and it might and they might send it to you. I'm not sure how that works. I think somebody told me that.
So what I'm saying, they saying the book was already counted in our tuition, is what I'm saying. That it was already paid for.
Okay, when you
It's already, that's me
this right
saying,
here,
it's already on the system. Like when you go
Oh,
on that, yeah, like it comes when you're
Alex.
going on Alex. Alex has the textbook there.
yeah,
Like
that,
go on textbook. So you don't, it's basically they just want you to pay for that, which you don't need it because you have it, unless you want to like have an extra copy and just write on it or just go over it without, if you don't have the like a laptop or something throughout the day. That's what it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I interrupted.
that's all right.
Professor
Oh,
Cruz,
yeah, I
That's a
appreciate
good
it.
answer.
you're welcome.
So yeah, I think you can actually go in to and buy get him to send it to you through here. But I'm not 100% sure how it works because I've never seen anybody do it. Right, Catherine, that's right. The online book is what the Course Complete pays for, is that online book. All right, if you don't have any questions, you don't have to stick around, but if everybody's sticking around to answer questions, get busy with it. We only got a few more minutes here. I'm about ready to go to sleep.
One question,
All right, go.
Alex, when you're tired of working it, you could just sign out, does it, erase what you did?
Well, it depends on where you're at. If you've answered,
I'm at the knowledge part.
I think that I don't know about that. You may, I
Mhm.
think it may let you come back to where you're at, but I'm not 100% sure. It's best to do it like a test. Do not ever take a test and think that you can just come back to it. You always,
Oh.
whenever you take a test, you should always plan for finishing it.
Okay,
I'm not 100% sure of that. I think because that's not a test, essentially, you do treat it like a test, but I'm not 100% sure
I understand, but I'll just do it over if I have to.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have to. I think if you get kicked out, let's say, that you should be able to go back in and it'll let you take up where you left off. I think that's the way it works.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
All right. All right. Anybody else out there? Or you want me to,
I have one more question, which I'm sorry, but on the when I'm on the website and it goes on grades, it's showing 2. Is that like something that you're grading?
what website are you on?
On the what is it called on the on the main thing where it's a Canvas thing where it shows like where you showed me your notes, the teacher notes and all that, where it says modules, grades, announcements.
Date's in there. Yeah, we haven't done anything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's showing 2. So is that something that's supposed to be there, or it's just an error?
Well, you're gonna have to like share your screen or something because I'm not sure what you're looking at.
See.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, let's see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Mm,
There won't be any grades coming over for any time, but those will be in the grade book. I made you the co-host, so you should be able to share.
I'm on my laptop, but then I'm on my phone on for the Zoom thing.
Mhm.
But it's just showing. I think it says 0, but it's just probably showing from, I guess, attendance. Probably from.
Attendance is not that's just keeping track of who's here. There's no grade associated with that. Although Canvas does give it as a percentage, but
Okay. It might just be that. I mean, I'll look into it. It's just it's
yeah, I
just
get all questions all the time about attendance and people for some reason, a Canvas has to show that. But that grade that has nothing to do with your grade in the class.
yeah. Okay.
Track of, when you're here, just for the sake of, because Delgado wants me to do that.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, it was just showing that, but it might just be like because when it says when to complete something, it just has like this blue arrow just to complete it. And then when I pressed it, that thing just got away. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to see exactly what you're looking at, but
Yeah.
there's no real work to do in Canvas.
Okay.
It's going to be for this class through the Alex. The grades will come over to Canvas eventually.
Okay.
Sync up at some point.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'll be doing that then. Thank you. You have a great night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Abriana, you out there or you just gotta,
I'm here. All
so
right.
how's it going? You got questions?
No, I was watching the whole time. I was paying attention because I didn't get no step by step. But no, you basically explained everything.
Okay. All
Thank
right. See you next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.